Say hi to everybody. As a matter of fact, come over here. Come over here. Everybody, welcome. This is our special Wheels on the Bus Zazenkai, and our friend here is Bryson, who many of you have known. This is about his fourth trip here to the Scuba Zendo, but also this is his first trip as a newly ordained Soto priest, which we want to congratulate you on. You are a Reverend Tendo, the Heaven Way. Yeah. If you can stick around at the end of Zazen today, we're going to have a little, our usual tea time. We're going to have a little a chat with Bryson Tendo and get to know him. Hey guys, Yakshim and Chris are here in Scuba. Good to see you. Hey Yakshim, we're going to go see the our mummy friend today. Remember him?
Ah, yes, I remember.
Yeah, I'm taking him there today. Yakshim and I have been there. All right. So if you can stick around at the end of Zazen, we'll have a little chat. But how are you?
I'm well. I'm very well. Good to be here. Good to be back.
Very good.
It's been too long.
And you've been in Japan a year?
Been here a year, yeah.
And now you're ordained. You're heading to Australia?
Not quite Australia yet. I've got a few things to do, and then I'll be off to Australia in the new year.
Very good. Very good. Well, let me. Well, you handle the camera and everything, Bjorn. Now, as I said, we're going to be dancing the Heart Sutra today, so I expect everyone to move at least some part of the body, whatever part of the body you can move without hurting yourself. Hello there.
Hello there.
John, good to see you. All right, well, shall we go? If you've been here before, you know what to do, and if it's your first time, just follow along. Let's see. Oh, I go here. Facing this.
The heart of the perfection of great wisdom, Sutra.
Mantra, the mantra that comes of suffering should be known as truth, since there is
Anya Shinyo. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In reciting the heart of the perfection of Great Wisdom Sutra, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha Honored One, the historical Buddha and teacher, and to those ancestral teachers, Eihei Dogen Honored One, Soji Keizan Honored One, all successive Honored Ones up until Zuigaku Renpo Honored One, and Gudo Wafu Honored One, and to all other Honored Ones throughout history, same yet diverse Honored Ones whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. We also dedicate these efforts to the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all awakened ones and teachers in all places and times. We especially seek tranquility and well-being for all creatures now suffering or ill in health. May they be serene through all their ills. May their lives be at peace and wisdom pervade the darkness of ignorance. We dedicate our hopes and aspirations to all victims of war and violence and natural events, to the injured and to all families touched by these tragedies, to the healing of hatred in all countries and among all peoples, to the wisdom and compassion of our world leaders, to the peace of the world and harmony of all beings. Thus let the harmful effects of words, thoughts, and actions be dispelled, and compassion bloom in perpetual spring. May we all realize and live the enlightened way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time. Om Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita.
Zazen, let me mention we're going to have people chair sitting here. We have people reclining at home for various health reasons, including our Eno today. If you need to, nothing wrong with it. You sit as you sit. All right, let's sit. You have a partner too. KINHIN. We also have tea. Take a walk. Go run away. We will now have Zazen and a little talk. Have a seat. Sit. If you can hear, make like you're driving a bus. Driving a bus. Very good. I know you can hear this. Okay. So what I'm about to say is kind of a continuation of what I said last week about how some folks approach Zazen like they're waiting for a bus, or like they're on a bus waiting to get somewhere. Could be enlightenment, Buddhahood, lifetimes away, or just a little peace and happiness down the road. And I said that Master Dogen, our bus conductor and guide, had a very different take on our Zazen Shikantaza bus riding. We don't wait for the bus. We're on the bus. And in our hearts, we don't wait to get to someplace. We have arrived. If you can summon in your heart as you're sitting a feeling that there is no other place to go, even as life keeps moving, even as the bus keeps rolling, then you've arrived. This journey is constantly arriving at its destination moment by moment. If you can find in your heart and feel in your bones peace, contentment, satisfaction, a feeling of wholeness, just to be right here where you are as life keeps rolling, then you've arrived at Zazen. So we sit Zazen with no other place to go, nothing more to do. And it's vital that we sit Zazen with such attitude. But some people took my bus example, and I had a comment today on Reddit from a fellow who said, well, that's kind of not really Buddhism, because all you're telling people is just to take life as it comes, right? Just sit there, look out the window, accept whatever passes by. And I said, no, that's not my message here at all. Because this bus is something very special. You see, in my heart, I'm always looking for a good analogy, but to be born into this world mysteriously is to suddenly wake up, and here we are, passengers on this strange bus. This turning world, life. And we don't know exactly where this bus or world came from. We don't know exactly where it's going. But it's rolling along, and here we are on it with our own, shall we say, ticket in hand. Don't even know if anyone's driving it. Don't know if this bus was made by General Motors or But here it is. Maybe we evolved to fit perfectly in this seat. But whatever it is, it's a well-apportioned bus and world. The world has air to breathe, water to drink, food to keep us alive, all the chemistry and biology that's going on that seems to keep the motor turning. So whatever it is, this bus has its cup holders and our comfortable seat and the lights, the sun in the sky. Here we are. And it's rolling, and we look out the window and the scenes are passing. Now, not all the scenes are beautiful, but there's mountains, there's trees. Occasionally there's something not so nice, violence, scenes of ugliness. But the bus keeps rolling. And we're passengers on the bus, and we look around and there's all these other passengers. They seem separate from us. That guy's over there, that woman's over there, there are babies, there are grandmothers. We also see that people seem to get on the bus, and then at a certain time they get off again, disappear, never to be heard from again. What's that all about? Where did they go? Where did they come from? Where did we come from? How did we get here on this strange trip? So what does Zen Buddhism have to offer about all that? Master Dogen never spoke about buses. I don't think they had buses back then. What did they have? Caravans, I guess. In any case, what does Zen have to do about this? You, the bus, the scenes outside, the beautiful, the ugly, the other passengers? Well, here it is. We don't know where it's going. We don't know where it came from, but I can tell you one thing. If you sit for a time in stillness and perfect satisfaction, contentment, your little separate self starts to soften, drop away. Your feeling of being a separate passenger kind of becomes something else. You still are, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you you vanish, but what you find is the other passengers, the people getting on, the people who have left, the people tomorrow, the passengers a year ago, the lights on the bus, the sun in the sky, the moon, the mountains, the road, the turning wheels, the scenes of ugliness, the scenes of war, all the passing miles. Turns out not to be a part at all. My friends, you're not a passenger on the bus. You're the bus. Oh. Better said, because we, Buddhists, we don't like to put it down to these solid things. There is no bus. There's just this trip, man. The rolling, the turning, the moving. We call it emptiness, the wholeness that's flowing down the road. That's you and you're it. Get used to it. Where it goes, you go. Now that's a wonderful thing because that's the ultimate free way. Like my puns? You see, usually we don't like where the bus goes. Sometimes we do. Like I want to get off here, take a left, take a right. Sometimes it goes where we want. But a lot of times this bus doesn't go where we want at all. It goes into sickness, goes into old age, goes into some bumps and obstacles. Sometimes it's like it's so scary, like it's speeding around one of those cliffs. I was on a bus like that in Morocco, man. Guy was going 90 miles an hour on a cliff. I swear the cliff was thinner than the bus. I thought we were going to go right over the edge. I'd be one of those stories in the newspaper, that gets no attention. Bus goes off the side of cliff. You've been there. He's been around the world. I bet you've been on that bus in Afghanistan. I know it, right? Yeah. So anyway, it's a scary bus sometimes, man. It's also a very beautiful bus many times. filled with love and pretty things and beautiful scenery too. Okay? But here's the thing, when you drop the separation between you and this trip, you go where it goes and it goes where you go, and it's always right here because right here is where it is, and that's your home. If you stop saying where you want to go, your little self, and just flow with where it goes, the bus trip is your trip. When it goes left, you go left. When it goes right or wrong, you go right or wrong. Like that. So that's why that bus thing is, I think, a pretty good analogy, even though the Buddha didn't really have a bus. But I like to call it the Buddha bus. It's the bus that's the whole thing, and it's you, and all the other passengers, and all the scenes, and the rolling wheels, and the scenes of beauty, and the hard scenes too. Now our job, according to Master Dogen too, our bus guide, is to, while we're on the bus, make this as nice a bus as possible, because we have to share this bus. So if we make it a bus of greed and steal things from the other passengers, or worse, get in fights and kill some of the other passengers and have wars with them and such, if we make this bus a mess, you know, just tossing our garbage around, well, it's going to be a kind of unpleasant trip, both for us and the other passengers, you know. But yet we people on the bus called Planet Earth, we seem to be fighting and stealing and can't get along and fighting over who gets the best seats and then throwing our trash all around, you know, like that. So our job is, while we're on the bus, even though it is just us, is to make it as pleasant and nice as possible, which also makes it easier to realize that we are the bus. When we're so angry and stealing and greedy, it's hard to see the wholeness of it all. That's one of the reasons the Buddhist precepts are so important, because when you drop the fighting, the anger, the resistance, it's easier to see the wholeness of it all, of the whole truth, like that. But anyway, before you get the wrong idea, this is just an analogy. There is no bus any more than the planet Earth. The planet Earth is empty too, even as it's turning like the bus wheels, you know. Okay, that's enough. I think you get the point. Right now, what we do is we sit in our seats with no place to go. It's all arrived. Right here is the station and the motion. The destination is the motion. This is the arrival. Find in your heart that there is no other place to go. Find in your bones a feeling of peace, contentment, flowing, and I guarantee you right now this trip will be peaceful. Contentment flowing. It's up to you how you make this trip. The trip is in your hands. Okay? Let's go. Let's sit. We will now recite the verse of atonement and the 4 vows.
All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. To save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable.
Well, wonderful, wonderful, everybody. I particularly want to thank our Sekishi. Sekishi said I could joke about this a little bit. I don't want to go into too many details, but Sekishi had to recline Zazen today. Let's just say he has one of those men's problems that prevent him from prostrating. The one that's diagnosed where the doctor points at the moon. You know that one? Where during the diagnosis his voice goes up like, to save all sentient beings, like that, you know? Okay, I got a million of them. Anyway, we're going to continue right now. Anyone needs to go, you can, but we're going to have like a little tea with Tendo to find out how he's been doing in his training monastery, or training temple, I should say, and catching up. So if you want to stick around, we're going to stay here, keep going. For the rest of you, see you around the Sangha. Well, I'll be back in a second. I just got to go talk to these guys. We'll be back. Make yourself at home here. I shouldn't have a seat. I just want to talk to these guys for a second. Wait a second. You guys want to come along? You're more than welcome. There's also a Sri Lankan temple right close. No. Okay. I'll bring you back here, but we'll go? Okay, good. Anyway, we're going to do tea. 15 minutes. Okay, very good. Tea with 10. Make some room for me. You're such a big guy.
What do you want? You do?
This guy in my little tiny Japanese car, and he's banging his head on my house
I'm not that big. I've lost 10 kilos. since I've been
because
there.
the
Used
place
to
where
be
you
big.
were, you said almost no meat.
Almost no meat.
Yeah.
Almost no meat. Which is a good thing. I don't eat meat anyway, but you've got to substitute your protein somewhere or other, and we
Let
do that very well.
Let me catch people up. Bryson is an old friend of Treeleaf. He been around the world, sees some things, and came to Japan about a year ago to stay with Jinan Roshi at a place called Anonji. Anonji is a very interesting place. It's a serious training, I'll say, temple, but Jinan Roshi just bought a bunch of houses in the suburbs of Tokyo and made this place that is serious about two things: Zazen and takuhatsu, going out with the bowl to get money. They go out right now about once a month, you say?
Regularly, the monks go out during the week, and we do a group tagatsu once every 2 weeks.
So you go out once a week?
So I haven't been out at all since I was just ordained a week and a half ago. So
Oh, congratulations. A new baby here. Oh, thank you. This is for you. Would you like some tea? There you go. I got my coffee. Oh, I'm fine. Yep. So tell us about what's takuhatsu like, and why are they so serious about it at Anonji?
So, as far as Jinan-san's concerned, takuhatsu is just zazen. It's just another form of doing zazen. So our takuhatsu consists of, generally, if we're doing it at a static point, like out in front of a railway station or something like that, we're there for an hour and a half to 2 hours, holding onto the bowl. The guys who are experienced and know all the chants and whatnot are chanting the Heart Sutra or some other sutra while that's all going on as well in Japanese. And people come and donate some cash because they see the poor hapless monk there standing in front of the station, and usually we get words of encouragement, a few gambate kudasai and a few ukurasamas and whatnot.
And then the guy who leaves the beer can in the bowl.
Well, I had some young lads leave their pocket rubbish in my bowl,
Okay.
and I just bowed and smiled, and they went
Accept
on their way. I took that as well as
Accept it.
the coins, but I've had some good experiences there, just with some very nice, generous people. Some people want some things said to them. They've lost a relative or whatever, so they usually get a bit of a chant as well. But it's mostly middle-aged people who support the takuhatsu round. The young people are sort of beyond it.
They just walk by?
Yeah, and the old people don't even see us most of the time. So yeah, there's a certain age group that sees it as something fond from their past, and sort of likes keeping the tradition alive.
Now, how much zazen sitting do you do at the Anonji?
So at Anonji, we wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and we're on the cushion at 10 minutes to 5. So we start at 10 to 5. We go through till 7 in the morning when we have breakfast. We have breakfast, and then we do samu, so work program. And then after samu, we do morning tea. And after that, it's about, by the time we get to 10 o'clock, we're sitting again. So we sit from 10 till 12. Then we had lunch, and then we get our long break up until 2 o'clock. And then we sit again from 2 till 5. And then we have dinner. And then we sit again from 6:30 till usually about 8:30. So it's anywhere up to about 10 odd hours a day. Sometimes we'll do 2 or 3 40-minute sessions. They're all in 40-minute sessions with about 5 minutes of kinhin in between.
Have your tea, buddy.
Sure.
Yeah. Take a drink. So you said that actually I asked you what people talk about, what instructions you received. You said people are mostly, you've been there a year.
Yeah.
And people have been mostly silent for a year.
Well, not really. We're just curmudgeons, and we don't talk to each other very much. There's not a lot of conversation going on, and we're all from vastly different backgrounds as well. So yeah, there's just not a lot of conversation. So there's not a lot of time for starters. Once we finish in the evening, we're pretty keen to get into bed because we're up at 4:30 in the morning. So there's not a lot of sitting around doing nothing. So yeah, it's just not. There was no opportunity for me to enhance my my fairly mediocre, as it was, Nihongo,
Japanese. Yeah.
my Japanese skills. But that's okay. We're busy doing other things.
Okay. Now, Reverend Jinan, it reminds me very much of Nishijima Roshi, who also set up his own place for people to come because serious about Zazen. It's not a temple that does funerals.
He does funerals himself. We've got a small hondo there where we do some ceremonies. It's where I got ordained. And he does some local funeral stuff every now and again. But it's, I mean, I describe it as a hermitage. It's a place where people go to get away from whatever they've been doing back home, whether that's, some people have been living in a temple. We get the odd monk from other temples who come just to sit Zazen because they don't get enough Zazen in their own temple because they're busy doing temple things and running their farm and looking after the local community and talking to the local chamber of commerce and whatnot. So they come so that they can get an opportunity just to sit Zazen again.
By the way, any of you got a question or anything, just wave your hand so I notice it, or, tap yourself on the head, something like that. So how would you describe Reverend Jinan, his personality?
Jinoroshi is enigmatic. He's quirky. He's very funny. At the same time, he's very serious. There's no separation between his funniness and his seriousness. He concentrates on Zazen as the practice with a focus on, he mainly talks about things like oneness, no separation, which are all the same thing at the end of the day.
The bus.
Just takes it from different sides, and believes that the practice is the best vehicle to do it. Like, I don't want to use a vehicle analogy. I don't mean vehicle as in motor vehicle. Boom. But he says that it's the best way for us to get all of that squared away. So we sit a lot of Zazen.
Any questions, anybody? It's okay. Otherwise, I'll just. So you're going back to Australia?
No questions. I'm that boring.
Huh?
I'm going back to Australia next year.
No, you've answered your next year.
Next year. So this year I leave here end of July.
Oh, you're going to Cambodia.
I'm going to Cambodia for a short time.
Where you used to live?
I lived there for 3 years before coming to Japan.
Yeah.
And I've got a small business there that I'm looking to sell. And once that's done, then I'll be back to Australia with my 2 kids and my 5 grandkids, watching my grandkids grow up. They're getting too big already, some of them.
It's okay to talk about your background a little bit?
Sure.
Well, you're ex-military.
Ex-military, 22 years in the Australian military. You get less than that for murder. So 22 years in the military, and then just close to 20 years in international corporate security and security consultancy. So I worked, most recently, my last job was, I did 6 years with the World Bank, 5 years as the senior security specialist for Asia Pacific.
Yeah, he's not talking about the little guard in front of the building. He was one of those guys, with the glasses and
Yeah, well, I still got glasses.
Yeah.
And then I did a year in Afghanistan just before I finished. Oh, there's a hand.
Paul?
Yes, Paul.
So please tell me what sort of led you or what pointed you towards the Buddhist path? What thing happened in your life or your evolution?
Look, I've been practicing Budo, martial arts, for 55 years, since I was quite young. So it was always there in the periphery. That sort of relationship between karate and other training and Buddhism as a thing out there, but I never really explored it. But I was married for a short time to a Buddhist lady and wanted to understand a little about the family background and where everybody fits in with life matters. And so I started some academic study of Buddhism. I was doing a master's degree in Buddhist studies through the International Buddhist College in Thailand. And then there was an opportunity to do some practical work, and I had to find some sort of practical meditation practice or whatever. And I was living in Jakarta at the time, in Indonesia, and there was no opportunity for me to do that. So I had a look online, and lo and behold, there was an online place that I could come and sit Zazen. So that was
Who could that be?
2014 was my first meeting with Jundo Roshi online, and yeah, was an active member for some time, and I was looking for something. What I'd like to do when I go back to Australia is perhaps some chaplaincy, and I was looking at work with veterans and work with prisons and things like that, and so I trained for a short time as a private student of Daiho Hilbert, who's a
Great guy.
who's an ex-Vietnam veteran. He was shot on the first day he arrived in Vietnam, shot in the head, and
He's a gun-toting, Harley Davidson riding,
he's indeed
peacenik. Okay,
Absolutely.
he shoots a weapon on the range. He likes his guns, but not pointed at anybody. He was shot during the war. He's an anti-war guy. We got to get in touch with him today. I got to
For
say, and what a great guy, Daiho Hilbert, the real thing.
great guy, and so he was the next in my sort of development, and then I ended up on a couple of trips to Japan. I used to come to Japan quite frequently, and I've been here a few times. And I was in Tokyo, and I'd seen a YouTube video of an American guy who was 20 years in the military, 20 years, well, some time in the corporate world, and it resonated with me because he had a very similar background to mine. And he took me up to meet Jinu Roshi, and I've been going there since about 2016, 2017, and now I've been living there for the last 12 months, and just ordained. There was no plan for me to ordain. I had no plan. I'm sure he had a plan, but I had no plan. But it just happened quite organically through the course of this year training, and so here I am, all rucksuit up.
And I'll leave you with a final question, because I'm going to take him all around today. We're going all around some of the sites. Hey Chris, do you know about there's a Buddhist mummy who's been sitting Zazen for 500 years? I'm going to take him to see the mummy today. Yeah, you're more than welcome if you want to join us. But how do you feel different preordained and post-ordained? It's changed everything, or?
No, it hasn't changed anything at all. It's again, like I said, it's just like, well, I've lost 10 kilos in the last year, and I feel the same as I did beforehand, and I'm clearly not the same. I've got a couple of photographs in my Facebook of me before and after, and I didn't realize how round my head was before I lost all this weight. So clearly I've changed physically and physiologically, I think, but I don't feel any change. And I think it's the same up here and in here as well, that I don't feel like there's been any change, but by crikey, I think there's been a great change in just over this last 12 months.
Well, you haven't lost as much weight as that Buddhist mummy, I tell you. Anyway, but anyway, I got to get going, because the Buddhist mummy has been sitting there, Zazen, for 550 years, and we have a 2:00 appointment to get to see him.
He's waiting for us.
You know, because he's busy. So I got to go. Love you guys, and any final words before you go? Say something inspirational?
Thanks for having me. I hope you've enjoyed having me as much as I've enjoyed being had.
He's Reverend Tendo, the Skyway. Reverend Tendo. Love you guys. We'll see you later.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Ginger.
Thanks for everyone. Thanks, guys.
What are your names?
My name is Levon. Levon? John. Ross.
In the stream.
Hey, you.